Hi Wendy, hi Judy. Can you hear and see me okay, everybody? Hi Luke. Just make sure I can hear and see everybody, or that you can hear and see me. Just putting a piece of tape down where I can see the palette is, so that I don't. I'm going to try and paint so that I keep it all in the vision, something like that. Good. Okay, so I know what area I can paint in. Jeff, good evening. Good evening, Wendy. Long time no speak. From Judy. I can hear and see you fine. Great, Luke. Nice to see you with us. Jeff, good evening. That's great, loud and clear. Hi, John, Luke, and Judy. Did I miss somebody? John? Where's John? Oh, John, there you go. Piccadilly. Sorry, mate. I didn't see you come in there. Good evening, John. Nice to see you with us. Yeah, I know. It would have worried me for a little bit. Hi, Derek. Good evening to you. Right. Okay. Well, we are building our numbers, which is good. And I'll leave it for a short while. We're still a little early for people. I've got a nice board ready to do this tonight. I've really been looking forward to this, but as some of you will know, that I've been sort of doing a lot of skies for my not my patron, well, I've done one on there as well, but a lot of skies for the offers on Instagram, and they seem to be going down extremely well. So I've just really gotten into them, and I'm going to actually be doing a good few more, and not necessarily on here, but I will be filming them, that I can bring them in at different times. No point. These days there's absolutely no point at all in painting and not filming it. Even if I never use the footage, as John and everyone else on the train side will know, that, you know, even if you are filming or doing something on the train layout that's fairly average, you still normally film it, because you never know if you're going to use the footage or not, and better to have it than not. Anyway, I digress. Right, clean my glasses. I can see the screen now. No, not at all. Not forgetting. Wendy S. What have I missed? Have I missed something? I said hello to Wendy. All good, yeah. Coming down. Teresa, good evening. Glad you could join us. Yeah, that's good. Yes, they are. Those paintings are moving. That's good. Yeah, we've had I had a little bit of a sort of wobbly moment with this Instagram thing. My friend put me on it. He was doing extremely well on it, and I thought, oh, I saw what he was doing, and I felt I wanted a bit of that. And yeah, so Ben, good evening. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Got a question for you later. I'm sure you'll enjoy the question and trying to answer it. I have great confidence in your abilities, sir. Anyway, that said, yeah, the paintings on Instagram, they've sort of, none of them are over £200. They're all cheap, but they are not, you know, they're all stock that yesterday, as it were, I was selling for £400, £500, £600, and it's just, while we're in lockdown, I can't sell a thing, my galleries can't sell a thing, others that I'm associated with, so it's a great way of moving some back catalogue. But there's been a huge interest in some of these sunsets and sunrises I've been painting, and so I've had to sort of occasionally just do want to throw it into the mix to keep everybody active and happy, and I've enjoyed that. So I've been painting very hard, sometimes 2-3 paintings a day. Not today, I've been doing other things, but I've been doing quite a lot. James, good evening. Nice of you to join us from Bexhill. Thank you very much, my man. I will be in touch with you very shortly. Yeah, sorry you missed Friday. Someone else wanted to use my laptop. Well, Teresa, I'm sorry. You're the boss. You tell them straight that they can't. It's as simple as that. And tell them that I'll send the boys round if there's any issues relating to that down the road. We can't have this single-use laptop. It's for you and for me, and that's the end of it. All right, I'm getting a bit silly before I start. Right, okay, so we are just gone 7. I should imagine that some of our American friends will join us soon. It'll be great. But as I say, I wanted to do an oil version of this sunrise, and I've got lots of them, and I keep doing little variations. Sometimes I just do one and I don't even get the reference sorted out for it. I can't even open this. Look at that. 3 shredded wheat away a day, and I can't even open a tube of paint. What's going on? Excuse me, people, I'll go and get another one. That one needs a pair of pliers on it, I think. There we go. So anyway, right, I'm going to put a dollop of that there. Now, if you are using this one, 10 so far, good, okay. We need 10 to become 110. This stuff, Liquin, I can show you that. Liquin here, don't put too much out if it's in pasto, because it will dry and become quite a skin very quickly. So don't put more than you feel you're going to need in any single session. Okay, now this, I've spoken about things like this before. This color on this board, this is just a standard 2mm or 2.4mm picture frame as backing board. It's commonly used. I sort of sell it to a lot of my painting friends in bulk, and yeah, it's a great way. Just 2 or 3 coats of gesso, a couple of coats in white, and the last one in a color of your choice, depending on what you want to do. And the reason for this is that it gives a lovely, well, 2 reasons. One, it allows the pot through the paint at different times, and because of that, there creates a little harmony across the whole of the painting. And you don't actually understand what's happening, but let me assure you, the brain picks it up, picks these little pips up, and there you go. The other reason is that you can paint light colors on here and see them. It's a mid-tone, it's a middle value. You can swing it from the warm like this, quite hot. I haven't got any here, but I have painted in the past, for those who know me, am I getting weak in feet? Yes, I am, Judy, because I haven't got all you ladies on a weekly basis geeing me up and giving me a hard time, which I need to work out for, just to stay abreast of it all. So I've gone without that for so long. I just need to tone up. This will allow me to see my middle tones. The choice, as I say, warm or cool, is up to you. I've worked on both. I've worked on very, very hot ones, which is a bright cadmium red. There is, no, I haven't got it in here even. There's a painting kicking around here at the moment somewhere, a Venice picture I did, where I painted on this bright cadmium red background, and parts of that popped through. So yeah, right, okay, I better get started before I get the sack. I've added a few more colours into my mix because I'm doing the idea of clouds and skies at the moment, and I will rip my, you can't see it behind the picture, it's quite deliberately placed, that picture, so you can't see the darn mess behind it. But I've added a Venetian red, which is quite similar to a degree to Indian red, which would be quite good actually, because this is Indian red. There you go, I'm losing the plot. I've got a little bit of the green, and I don't need much of this phthalo green. I'm not using much of it these days in my palette. In fact, I cleaned a little bit off of something just now, and there's more of it on my floor right now, which Catherine is not too happy about. It's all over the carpet and a great big mess underneath me, so I am not the flavour of the month, as it were. I'm just going to scrape this piece of paint off here. It's been sitting here too long. Bear with me. Okay, just put some more colour, fresh colour out. Some cobalt blue into there will be fine, and a little bit of my ultramarine. There is still some phthalo blue on there from the last session. Yeah, it's not the first time I would have done it either. I mean, it gets gunged up around the side, and once they set and gone, that's it, you can't do anything with it. Right, I think there's probably enough. I'm going to put a little tweak of magenta in there. I've got my yellows in abundance, so I need some white, of course, so let's put these to one side. Now, there are two things about tonight, and I don't know if any of our American friends are watching. I have put a big lump of white just behind the picture. Alright, and I'm putting another white. I'm putting some zinc white out. Now, what I'm just going to do so you can see this very quickly is I'm going to move the picture just like magic, and you can see the rest of the colours. Now the top one is titanium white, and the one below it is zinc white. And now the reason I'm using the zinc white is because it's a great way of tinting, making a colour pale without killing it. You're lighting it but without overpowering it. It's a tinting colour. It's not as strong as titanium white. Titanium white is a very, very strong punchy white. It's a very modern white too. It's the more recent of all our whites to be created. So, but it is a very opaque colour. I use Wendy. She's good at grip. Yes. Don't argue with Wendy. Not on a Wednesday night. Alright, so I am still being silly, but what the heck? I've had a good day. I'm happy, and it's coming out. Alright. Okay, let's crack on. So this has got a few elements in it, and one of the colours I have absolutely completely forgotten to get out. Bear with me. I thought I was being really on the ball, and I wasn't, but here we go. Sort that out later. I'll go out the way for a minute, just in case it does need to be done again. And a little bit of umber into the mix, and let's just get some of that on the ball with a little bit of the liquid. Okay, it's disappearing off camera for a second. Alright, back to the plot. Yeah, well, Wendy, you know, cat fits and all that. You often have 3 shredded wheat in the morning. You keep telling me these things, so I gotta believe it's the fact. Right, try and make your horizon in your drawing level, unlike me. Try and make it level. We don't want to make the sky too short. We need to make it very, very big. It's all about the sky. So there is our horizon to our sky. And here we're going to put in a little bit of a deeper sea, maybe sort of just below half of what's left. And that's the only drawing we really need to do. Now, if you feel less confident, you can sight your sun. We can put in this little corona of light. We can draw this lovely shade of sort of this line around, just to give us an idea where our sun is going to be nestled. And we're going to put our sun just off center. We're going to put it about there. And then we've got the other cloud which we can put in, like so, and that will come down and overpower this one. Okay, and that really is the only drawing that this painting is going to ask for. So now I'm going to start looking at the colors that I need for the background. And by the way, I have several of these on offer. So they are in stock. If any of you are wanting to order directly from Rosemary and Company for any of these brushes, these are the well, actually I've got two types here. This is the Shiraz version, this is the evergreen version. I do believe kicking around somewhere is an ivory version, and I got 3 sizes, but she has them in stock, so by all means ring her up and you can order them directly from her and they will be sent to you. I'm expecting mine any day, so it's good. All right, that bit of news out the way. Let's just go back and find one, and a smaller one, and maybe a nice soft, look at that lovely long filbert. They are quite a gentle brush. Okay, so for that I'm going to look at my colors. You can see a lot of them up there. What I wanted to do about this one is I really wanted to make it really dark and quite moody. Now the color in the sky doesn't actually suggest absolute light or dark, but it wants to be. So the more dark I make this, then the better all those light effects are going to appear. So I'm going to make it dark and moody. So I'm going to put in a mix of ultramarine blue and a bit of Indian red in there. You can see that sort of dirty purple forming, a bit more of the blue. You can actually make that blue at the top. You can come in with some of the cobalt blue, which is going to change the color again, but more of the zinc. Now the zinc white will take a lot more to color it and pale it up, but you don't necessarily want too much, so it's an ideal color or tone to use. Just seeing if anybody else there I've missed on here. No, actually I'm wondering if some of I absolutely missed putting this out on the Facebook streams and all the different pages the other day, so I'm just wondering if I've not done myself a little disservice by doing that, but hey ho, I can't change that now. It is what it is. I'm going to put a little bit more of the liquid in to make this flow, not too much because it can thin the paint. As you can see, you start seeing the colors easily. You do that and you can see everything pulling through it. So just be aware you don't overdo the zest it. Well, the liquid, not the zest it. Okay, I'm just coming in here with a little bit darker on top. Now because I'm working fairly dry brush, I'm not putting too much medium in this. I'm going to be able to play around with this pigment and come in and over it quite easily with the other colours. It's not so debilitating as if you've got a lot of wet in there, and it will cause you other problems. Right, I've put in a slightly different colour with the blue and a little bit more Indian yellow. Just going to lay that in first. 13 now. Well, that's good. Any of our American friends watching tonight? I asked the question very politely. A little bit more of the zinc in there, touch of the liquid, and I'm just going to bring a suggestion of pale blues down through here, not a lot. Put a bit of umber, a bit too much umber, but umber all the same. A little bit of umber in there, and maybe a tap of the red too, and back into some more blue. Sometimes you just have to keep mix until you get it where you want it to be. And I'm going to bring some blue in over here, which is quite heavy and way too heavy, I think. So I'm going to have to lighten that up and put some ultramarine into that just to shift it back a little bit. And there we go. Now, I hope everybody's all right now in this lockdown. I think we can all get around a little bit more. According to our government, we're allowed to go out and meet other people if we want to at a safe distance. I'm even told tonight that the Irish government are allowing groups of 6 people to congregate from different households, which is quite unusual, I thought, but there you go. I hope everybody stays safe, whatever the outcomes of lockdown and what we are and are not allowed to do. I went over to pick some canes up today from a family friend actually, and on the way over there, and it was only from Dymchurch to New Romney, 3.5 miles, something like that. But honestly, I thought it was a bank holiday weekend with no lockdown. There was that many cars. There's even getting into the village of Dymchurch, there was a queue of cars. I had to wait. Just could not move. It was crazy. Anyway, sorry. A little bit of red gone in just to make that a bit warmer. Just wanted to make it a little drabber. I'm going to put in some white into there and mix it out. I like the colour, but I didn't want it so overtly purple. It's gone a little bit that way, so I am going to play around with some reds and some blues just to kill off some of that purple a bit. So laying over. Now this is the benefit of the dry brush, of course. I can come in and I can lay into this, and as long as I don't keep work, it will allow me to put in other colours over the top quite nicely. And I'm just going to tip tap that a little bit into there like so, and then move on. There's a little bit of a high note of colour there, which I'm merely suggesting, and I want to change. The first time I'm going to start putting in some orange, some reds, and some yellows, a bit of lemon yellow. Got to savour this. You can't actually go in with your bright colours straight away. You'll end up with all sorts of trouble. Now, am I missing the feed? Because it seems to have stayed naked. Just checking. No one else has said anything. And I'm just going to come in here, and that's sort of, to me, very, very dark. So I'm going to come in with a bit more light in here, just to soften it, and maybe a little redder, I think. Now, if I don't like this, of course, I can always wipe it back. It's not a big deal. I think I need to put in quite a bit of white. I think we need to come to some titanium white, and now you can see the big punchy white playing its part. It will change the ball game very, very quickly. Now, I actually don't like that colour at all. I'm just going to, when I can, take most of that off so I can play around, come back in with a new colour, take that to one side, clean off my brush and clean it out. Right. I'm going to wipe that off too, because I don't want to reuse it, and I don't really want it at all. Take that colour out of it, put the rag to one side, and that's the only problem with painting these days, with not a lot of paper tissue around. You do go through copious amounts of it. Okay, for that now I'm going to come in this time. I'm going to start with the light. I'm going to come in with some cadmium yellow. I'm going to touch a red into there and just choice colour this down. And I want to put in that lovely, it was a lot warmer and I had it way too dark and too gloomy, so I needed to change that. And I'm going to come back in now. The trouble with using yellows and reds is that you put blue with it, you go to a dirty green horrible colour, so you have to be aware of what's going to happen with that when you do it. Yes, John, it's an oil. Don't tune out now because of that, please. It's an oil. Right, I'm going to put more of a pinky orange glow down in here, and I'm really just blocking in, just feeling my way. Okay, I'm nowhere near sort of making final decisions or even the very next decision. I'm merely charting the course, as it were, to where I want this painting to go. 16 watching. Okay, that's cool. Right, so my question, Ben, for discussion, not necessarily now, but maybe over the next tomorrow, even at 5 o'clock in the morning, when you. I know, I appreciate it, John. I was only messing around, mate. I was sent the boys round, as you don't say, and I've always got Ben on standby if anyone does that, so don't worry. Right, so yeah, my question is relating to Instagram for kickoff, and with Apple's pictures, you know, that little flowery symbol with our pictures. How frustrating is that app? I have loathed when Apple's picture app for many years. It is awful. It is so not user friendly, unless of course you know differently. I don't think it's user friendly at all. It's causing me right now no end of issues. I want to put a little bit of Venetian red and with a touch of Indian yellow and see what comes out. Not a lot. I'm going to leave that one alone. Right, okay, let's go back where I was, and that didn't come off how I hoped. I was hoping for something a little bit duller, but a little warmer than that. There's a lot of yellows in there, so it's not really doing what it wants to do. Okay, I'm just going to come through here. I want to put in a bit of magenta into the bottom of this sea and this colour, this lovely glow that's stretching out beyond and through these blues of the cloud base. Just teasing one or two back into play, but just trying to make it very soft, very subtle transitions. And a little bit over on here too, and let that spread away. Now my painting may well differ somewhat to the photo, and I don't suggest that if you want to do it you have to do that. I just know that I want to enhance the picture. Cheers, Luke. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a bit disappointing on the sunsets of late. I really wanted to get out there and grab a few, but it's either been too much cloud or dull, or no cloud at all, which is okay but not the best. Clouds really do make a beautiful sunset interesting. I mean, all sunsets where you can see the sun setting is interesting, but when you've got clouds across it, through it and all over it, it just works so much nicer. Okay, I am dribbling on a little bit and not getting very fast, so I just want to bring that through there like that and let that just go out of sight like that. I'm going to come back in with a lot more blue, different colours, and a little bit of Venetian red, a lot more blue. Looking at that again, and I'm just going to come in with a lot more dark now on here, and to just beef this up into here. Just wanted to make that nice and glowy. A little bit of red into that, and white. It's sort of mixing to taste. It's about salting your cooking. You put as much in as going to shift it to the spice that you're looking for, and not overpower it and make it too awful to even contemplate eating. This is no different. This is making this painting give me a lovely glow and a lovely sense of warmth. And the thing is that even though the photograph is an attract, it doesn't necessarily come off. Cameras can only pick up so many degrees of color. They see in millions, we see in absolute trillions and billions and gazillions and so much colour. So we can see the scene so much more vibrantly than a camera can. And when you've got strong light at the lens and the sensors in the way this is, then it changes everything. So, you know, this is why plein air is such a wonderful method of recording a painting or of a scene outside, because you know you're actually there, you're seeing it, and you know you're living it, as it were. And I think that can be very, very important. Okay, so I'm just suggesting one or two of these blues now, coming in a bit more of the zinc white. Now I know a lot of people around the world, certainly a lot of the American artists, are shying away now from using zinc white, which is quite a shame. The main thing being that over time it can actually crack. It has been known to crack. Now if you are using very heavy paint, I can see that happening. I don't paint very thickly, and I don't think that's going to really worry my paintings at all moving forward. So I'm happy to use it, and in fact most artists in the UK, to my knowledge, are happy to continue using this pigment, but it does come with that little warning, a little caveat. And put a little bit of warmth in there, into that blue, and a little warmer colour in here, just to suggest the light breaking through the back. And making some of this blue. This blue has been sort of altered in colour value by the oranges that are very close to the sun. I'm going to come in with the blue. Now I'm going to use some phthalo blue off to one side, a bit of cobalt blue with that too, and I'm going to keep it quite dark because against that sun it does look very, very dark. Now this may appear to be way over the top, and to a point it is, but I'm actually making the painting work for me in a very different way. I want these blues to be very dark, to hold in all the lights further on down the road, and that really is quite important. So I'm not putting any white to this blue sky, I'm just making this really work so I can put the lights against it. And just going to push that up through there. Not a good thing to do to your lovely brush, but I am doing it in that way for the purposes. And these radiant lines that come and emanate from the source, of course, the sun. Right, so something of that nature will be fine. And now if you want to put some white and some yellow into that, cool down this yellow here and make it a little bit softer, a little bit more yellow than that actually will work very, very well. Need some more paper, running out of tissue. I'm going to come in with some titanium white this time and a tap of cadmium yellow deep. I'm going to use the two together and just to bring up the yellow in that cloud at the top there, and just let it dry brushing it all the way over some of this blue so it sort of fuses. But I don't want it to completely lose the blue, and I don't want to contaminate totally the white or the yellow white in this case. A little bit more of the yellow into that white again, and just bring one or two areas in here that just suggest that it's a bit stronger in one or two places. So it's sort of reaching down into the blue sky. And there is a little bit of liquid, not much, just to make it. My paint's a little stiff. So I'm just going to put a bit more yellow to that, and then just bring some in over on this side here. And I don't want it to be totally light. against the rest of this. I'm going to bring some of this to work together and sort of drop the values of some of these colours down a little bit more. But I think to start with we're okay with that. I want to bring in, there's almost like a prism light effect going up on this cloud. I'm trying to, I can't recreate it totally, I can only suggest it. And just a little bit more. The thing about cadmium yellow deep, it does make a very good warm cloud colour when you need it. And so I'm going to tap in a little bit of light on there, just picking up a little bit of cloud at the top there. And then I'll bring these in later on when I'm sort of closer to that. But I want to make this a little yellower in here. Let that come all the way down soft as it comes against that cloud. It's quite a sort of a very shallow glide down the surface of this cloud. Bring that into that shape there. Okay, that's not so bad. I like that. Now I know there's a lot of camera light effect over here. I'm going to put, I've just realised I'm working with one of my cameras off. Amazing how many times you do these things and all of a sudden you realise that something that's normally there is not there. So now you've got a balance, you've got glaze that side and that side. Right, I'm going to have a glug. Time for a glug. And how are we doing on time and people? Well, we're only 37 minutes in, so that's good, going well. Alright. So now I want to make some darker statements. I keep looking at it and I'm not too sure which way I want to take it, but I do want to bring some darker values of umbers and reds into this blue. That's gone just too far, so I'm going to come back in with a phthalo blue. Just check that out and see how that looks. Come in some more red. Now we've ended up with a lovely brown. Too brown. I'm going to make another pile here with some of this and come back to my blues. It's just finding that medium, that colour that we seek. And I think that's probably a little bit. I just wanted to keep this dark up in the top here and to hold in the image from people sort of leaving it with their, looking around and they suddenly leave out of one corner because there's nothing stopping them. And this sort of heavier weight up the top here will help do that, I hope. That's the idea, putting that in. I mean, it's in the picture, a sense there is a part of that in there. I'll bring this dark through here. And I know essentially this is very dark, but it, I hope, will become very evident further on. I hope, he says. Right, a little strong colour in through there and up into here. Okay, that almost just painted itself. And some darks in here. Now I'm thinking that my brush is a new brush, so it shouldn't be causing any scratch, but it is giving me a little bit of that. Just a little bit dark in here. And that will come down and sort of just glaze over some of this colour so that we lose some of the impact of the red. But it's sort of, it's there, you can see that little gloomy light coming through, punching through the clouds where they're just separating and moving across. 16, good. Well, we're a little bit down on normal, but maybe that's because I didn't advertise it well enough. Lessons learned. Right, I'm going to come back in here, just to continue the idea of deepening this up a little bit more. Come in with some more of these colours and just keep playing away until we get that value that I'm seeking. Keep looking at that brush. I keep almost as though there's a little bit of a damaged bristle in there that's caused me a bit of trouble. If it continues, I will change it and put out another one. Alright, now I've got to come back into this area and start looking at some of these colour values through here and up into here, and I think this colour does need changing. quite a strong wedge of dark shape into the area here. It does give way to everything else here. That I'm not worried about. We can do all of those things with it. I just want to get the sense that the light is just pushing through, but I don't want to totally lose all that lovely warmth I've got in that cloud. Just bring some along the horizon line just here. Let that drag off of the horizon line into that shape generally. Okay. Trying to use a very soft touch because I'm trying to minimize some of the brush marks. Not always needed, but I just feel that I want to on this one. Hey Sylvia, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Right. Now let's just bring that in there and soften the edge of this. A little bit of shade from that cloud onto the rest of the area here, so it's taking out where the sun is just pushing it that way. We've got some coming through here, which we've got to put those in too. And I'm itching to get some more warmth, and I really am. I'm just going to bring some through there. Just to suggest that there, and a bit more of the red and some indigo, some magenta, and just bring that in there, and a little bit in through there. Again, I'm just trying to soften the transition so it becomes more of a hint than an actual stroke as such. Here there is much more of a strength of sense of. I've actually added, I realise I've added another sort of value of this red in here against it. It's like a glance through there, and I've not got it here, so we're going to make do with that. It's not a problem. And if it is a problem later on, then there's nothing stopping just taking a bit out and just playing around with it until it's the right value that you're seeking. Alright, that'll work for the moment, and we've now got to start looking at some of the lights up the top here in a little while. Got to put a bit of blue through there just to take some of that off. And it's a very, very faint blue. I need to make sure my brush is clean, even probably change my brush altogether and come into these lovely. Now these are another brush that I've never seen them before I started using Rosemary brushes, but she does these long filberts, and she does one even longer called an egg burn. I don't know, but they just give a lovely soft bounce sometimes. I haven't used them very often, I've got to admit, but I'm going to use one tonight and just see how we get on with that. I'm tapping into just a little bit of that blue, just to suggest some of that into that yellow. Right, so just gives that little cool flush of colour, which is probably more a little bit of shadow from some of these clouds more than anything else. When I look at them hard, I sort of sense that they are almost the light, but a little bit of shadow created by that blocking that light access to it. I may be wrong, I don't know. I'm going to use some of it though, a little heavy, but I'm going to use some of that white and yellow into that in here. It's a bit of a lovely odd colour. I can't tell you what colour that is, not off the top, but we're going to soon replace that with some yellows in there and bring that right up to our cloud. Try not to touch it if you can. You don't really want to start dragging this dark material in and corrupting your colours, says he, putting his paint right into that cloud. I did it deliberately. I wanted to just raise the profile of that little bit at that point, so that's not a problem, and it will work. and I'm just going to bring it all the way down. Now you can glance it. You saw there that I just touch it and just let the paint just go through. It softens, but you're going to take off other material with it, so when you do that, be aware of that and clean your brush and just check that you don't deposit a dark piece of material where you just don't want it to occur, and it can soon mess up your painting. Right, I'm just going to bring some, I want a bit more orange into that, and I want it to be a little fresher, so I'm going to come in and put in a bit of orange made from cadmium red and cadmium yellow deep, and I'm going to mix it into this bit of blue which contaminates it and sort of dulls it down, takes the kick out of it. And in fact, I could do with it being a little bit more in there, just that little coolness, maybe with a little bit of ultramarine blue. It's just cooling it down so that when we put the white oranges or the lighter oranges in, it pumps and makes it kick, and it really does do a good job. Right, I'm just playing around in here for a minute, and I want to even take some of that blue out of there, or into there, sorry, making less of the orange. Just put some of that blue in there so that you sort of start looking for the orange pieces within it, but they are there, sort of thing. Okay, I've got this painting top, and I'm going to soon have to resort to t-shirts and old t-shirts because it's been a bit warm in here with this one. Okay, when we're in winter time. But not so good when you are sitting in here under these lights in a warm day like we've had today. But a glorious day today. I've been stuck inside editing film most of the day, unfortunately. Apart from going out the road to pick up this items that I said about earlier. But yeah, hopefully tomorrow I will get out and do a little bit more. I'll be in the gallery tomorrow, so I've got to do a little bit of sorting out and get some pictures into the post for people, and have a general tidy up. Right. And this is only a small one of these filberts, long filberts. And there is a bigger one, same idea. And you can get very much the same thing with flats as well, and I do use a lot of the long flats. I prefer any long filbert or flat to any short stubby ones. I used to use those years and years ago. I haven't used them for so long now. I don't get on with them anymore. I'm not really happy or big fan. Right, let's carry on. Now, look, there was a piece today, but I thought it was really bad as my mum was using a Hoover downstairs. So it wasn't a hiss. Is anyone reporting a hiss? Because I've taken the other unit off the top of this camera, so I'm hoping that the hiss won't be as much as it had been. And the one who gets most of the problem is Wendy. But I take it it's alright tonight, Wendy. You haven't said anything. But yeah. Okay. Right. If it is, we've got to keep looking into the issue. I'm just bringing in a few more marks in here. Just breaking up some of these shapes. And I want to put in a warmish glow right the way along here, just into, and let that come down and suggest that sort of kicking back into that dark shape. I'm using a very light touch as I do this. I just want that glow to come all the way and from here. Oh, really? Now I know you're just joshing me, John. At least I hope you are. Is it a Mark 4 or Mark 5B? Right, just going to start playing around with some of these shapes. I want the cloud to have some sort of variation in tone and values as I work through it. Not only dark and lights, but also warms and cools. Is nothing worse than just a big flat shape that becomes quite undramatic because of that. I think I will go to the bigger long filbert. I think that'll be quite a bit of fun to see how we get on with that. And it will put a bit of light in one or two places. And let's go back for some dark too while we're on it. Trying to soften and lose some of the brush marks, because I really sort of believe that these clouds just work so much better when they've got just that lovely soft shape to them. A little bit awry on that one, we'll come back into that. And it happens more with either a dirty old brush that's got a little bit craggy, or it can happen with too much medium working within the paint and you just haven't got the control that you would like normally to have with that. Part of me just wants to let rip with some of these colours and just see what happens, but I'm trying to keep them a little bit under control, as it were. You can make a big impression with it, or you can just keep it quite real, reserved, and beautifully picturesque in terms of softness and trying to recreate the scene. And I've done both. I mean, my paintings, some of them are very, very huge tonal shifts, big broad marks, and other times it's very, very soft, and I spend hours sometimes just trying to blend areas together and make them very, very seamless as much as I possibly can. It's not always doable, but it is nice when it happens. I'll pick up a little bit of light in one or two places, and here there's just a little bit of light popping through that cloud, and I just want to drag a little bit there just to suggest it now, but come back onto it later and make it more than it is. A little bit up in one or two areas in here, suggesting there's a little bit of light catching this part over this part. This part of this cloud is closer than this part, and this part is closer than this part. That's the idea. It's this huge big banking of cloud. Yeah, I am tempted to, I've got to say, John. I like the idea of just going for it, but I really wanted something subtle about this one too, something really nice, because it's that beautiful morning and the ambience of the light just coming up over the cloud bank, and yeah, so I'm holding back, should I say. I'm just going to tap in a few soft areas around here, just starting to change some of those blue colors and just tapping in a little bit of orange value in and around some of them, as we come to start making some better statements with these reds in a little while. And of course, you know, we're still setting this painting up. We're nowhere near sort of the climax on this. We're just really getting it all ready. We're sweeping the boards, we're tidying the shells, we are making colour decisions, and all for that little bit when we put that final part of the arrangement together and it pops, he says, hopefully. Now there is a little sort of a shadowy light and cloud that running through here. Gets a little bit bluer over here, and put that in. It means I've got to raise my sun a little bit to get it working. That's not a problem. Just pull my sun up a little bit more, half an inch, quarter of an inch, whatever it needs. And then I'm just going to bring that through here and let that dissipate into this cloud and let it lose itself. Beautiful. You can just put these lovely subtle tints and values in, working it all the way through. And even lighter still down in here. Not like that. Get that. Well, yeah, you're right. Red sky in the morning. Yeah, it is what it is, sir. I can't remember the day. I paint so many of these, and I paint so many of these wonderful sunrises. Certainly during winter. I don't do any sunrises this time of the year, of course. I'll be up with the larks. I'll be up at about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning just to get ready. That is not happening. So I have to rely on doing more sunsets this time of year. I'm itching to get in here with some dirty blues. I think it just needs more than I allowed it. I put too much of that one colour in. And I want to temper that off with some reds as well. I don't want to lose them all. So I'm just going to make it a little subtle change here. And let that go all the way down to the bottom. Something like that. And I'll probably change my mind again before we finish. But I just want to cut into some of that too. It's just a little bit too much. And the same with that part there. Just want a bit more distance on there. So I'm just literally taking some away. I'm sorry about that. That was absolutely my fault. But please tell me you're still there. Is everybody still? Are we still there, or have I lost this? Everything's telling me we're still live. But can somebody say something to me? Please tell me this is not happening. Okay, are we still there? I lost the chat, I lost everything, but is everybody still there? You're telling me it's my chat that's causing the problem. I will turn the sound volume down. Is that better? Alright, I've turned my volume down. I do apologise. I made a big, huge error. So, first and foremost, can everybody hear me? Let me just clarify that. Are you able to hear what I'm saying? Good. Okay, Ben, thanks very much. You sent me a text. That's great. Well, I don't know what's happening. I'm trying to restore the chat, but I don't know what's going on. Loud and clear. Good, good. Ben, yes, hear you well, and there is less hiss. Yeah, I've turned the volume down. Maybe it's reverb through my computer that's causing that with too much volume. Okay, if I change this volume down. Now, am I too quiet? Can you hear me? Am I too quiet now? Yeah, all right. So it's that perfect, is it? Just wondered when I'll get found out. Okay, if I'm too quiet, I can just pump it up a bit. But hopefully the hiss has been all this time that I've had my volume too high on my laptop. So there you go, guys. All right, I'm here. I really am here. I'm sorry about that. God, there's always something goes wrong. Hate it when it goes wrong, but invariably something does. I'm just playing around with some of these colors. Just going to put some dirtier ones in here before I carry on. Just a hint that they're picking up some colors there. Yeah, you got sound is better, and the sound machine has stopped. Can hear. Okay, volume is perfect. Good. I'm pleased. I am so sorry, but like all this technology, it's all a case of learning. Good. Okay, so at least you can turn your speakers up if you can't hear me too well, but from my end it's much better because you're not getting that hiss. I am sorry about all this. It's one of those days. I think it's gonna cause me a problem, but yes, I forgot to plug the mains lead into my laptop, people, and so the battery just died. Of course it's going to die. It's doing a lot of work. It's been going for a long time and it just eats it up. So yeah, I just couldn't believe my stupidity, but there you go. All right, so right, I will press on and hopefully get to the end of this without too much more of a problem. I'm going to add some lovely colors in here, some warms into the sky. I am using the filbert because I feel that the I'm waiting on fresh stock of the daggers, and I think that was causing me a little bit too many issues to be enjoyable, and I wanted to get away from that. And this is a new long filbert, and I can be very, very subtle, very soft little marks. I can play around with these now, and just you can see the way I use my brush. I'm sort of 1 minute this way, 1 minute that way, just tapping around and suggesting little subtle different shapes and forms. Trying to really fuzz up the edges. Lost edges, not lost edges, soft edges, but not hard edges. I'm trying to get rid of hard edges tonight. Just want the softness of the morning to sort of come leaping through this painting at you. And it's not an easy thing to do, but it's nice when it works. and just a little bit more warmth up into this part here. Just drag that through there, and just setting it up for the highlights further in. Okay, I've got to say, people, that the painting channel itself is doing very well. We are about 930 hours off of being monetized, which sounds an awful lot, but we've had to eat 4,000 hours within the year, and we are almost, I hope that by keeping these streams going, and if we can get more people watching them, then by keeping them going, they're chomping through these hours really nicely. And hopefully by the end of June we will have the channel monetized, and I think then by the end of July, once we're monetized, I might be able to afford a t-shirt. I'm looking forward to that. I remember when my railway one got monetized a while back, and I thought, oh, this is going to be brilliant. And I think a month and a half in, I'd actually had enough money to buy a t-shirt from somewhere cheap. It's not a great money earner, but it is the starting of such. It's just a nice way to build your channel and allow that to happen. So I'm looking forward to that. And it also means to say that certain things happen that you can monetize and create income streams through other sources within the social media itself. Just bringing this color in through here. Now I'm starting to make much smaller decisions within this area. Be a little bit bigger brush to soften the impact. You can see how I'm now looking to soften the outlines and lessen the paint marks, the brush marks. And I'm just looking in that sort of very, very subtle shape there, almost lost. And one or two up in here, again just losing some of the obvious edges and shapes. And feather it out a little bit. Don't know if I ever am sort of totally satisfied with that. It's just a little too harsh still. I would like to have a softness about it. Gonna have to live with that, I think, to a point. Right. John, that's really pushing it, mate. That might have to be 2 months in. I was hoping the t-shirt might come first, and I can go on to the save up for the cup of tea and the biscuit later. We shall see, though. We shall see. Early days. Right, I'm going to put in a warmer colour in through here. It's not actually in the paint in the photo, but I'm going to use it just to soften down the edge, but give it a slightly harder edge at this point, coming down into this lovely, beautiful shape of the cloud down there. And I want to look at this one here. This has got a warmth in it, but it's going to be picked up with a lighter rim as we come into it. But right now there's also quite a light but warm glow creeping its way down through there like that. I want to get that in. Just that the light has just eclipsed that top of that cloud, and you can just make out some values going through there. Not a lot. And it's radiating that light down through there, which works for me. And it's quite heavy underneath, but we have a very similar situation in under this rim here, and I need to sort of allow for that. And that little lovely glow of light. Maybe a little bit more yellow in there, and warmer. Just a lovely light. I love all this. This is just, to me, it's what it's all about. When it comes to sunsets or sunrises, it's just what it's all about. Okay. And I'm going to look at this shape in a minute. I want to put a bit more blue in there. A bit more cobalt, direct cobalt. Let's see. And yeah, definitely some more cobalt. How are we doing on time, apart from my obvious idiot blip? Can't see the time now. I've covered up the time with the chat, so yeah, anyway, right. I'm going to put that darker colour in there, and there's a little tap under there too, which I'm going to put in, just suggest it, and there's a little heel of light comes down from that cloud there. It's actually separated, but we'll put that light back in later. Actually comes around here and almost eclipses a little bit of the sun. I'm going to leave that there and let's see what happens with that further in. Alright, I'm going to get the C in and start working out that part, because we've still got a long way to go. I'm really hoping that this is not going to be too long. Okay, so I'm going to put the C in now. The C is going to be an amalgam of many of these colours. We're going to use some of the phthalo blues, some of the other blues laying in there, and a bit of the reds from previous, but we want to make it quite dark, certainly up along the top here. It wants to be very dark and moody, but also very straight as it comes through here. Now you appreciate here how light that area suddenly becomes, because I've placed this dark value all the way right up to it, and it just says I'm here, and you know, it's very dark and very brooding sea. Well, it's not brooding sea, it's just a very early morning sea without much light hitting it, apart from what you see coming through here in a short while. And I'm going to put a bit of light on in here, a little bit of that dirty red colour on each side, so you know I'll start to see a little bit of difference happening in the sea to as it comes towards you. But there is a definite sort of reddish yellowish glow into the sea, but it's not so much that it sort of changes everything. It's just very, very subtle change. Something of that nature will work quite well. The scratching or hissing you can hear now is my fingernail running on the board. It gives me, it serves me well as a level, and I'm using that to steady my hand and the amount of pressure or the angle that I'm using on this brush. I'll put a bit of white, but I'm going to use some zinc white on this just to really dull down this yellowish colour, and put that all the way through here now, and finish this off all the way through to the sand. I'll leave that little bit there because we've got our sun coming down here, so I'm going to leave a little area there which tells me where I need to put in my sort of reflection. That just gives me an idea where that's going to go. And I want to put a bit of lemon, some Indian yellow, sorry, and a bit of the red together. And it does give me a glow. I want to sort of suggest a hint of that each side of where my sunlight is going to suddenly punch. But I'm just looking at it again, I'm changing my mind, because I think that it really does need to be quite heavy and dark through here, because otherwise my sky will not be able to radiate that punch in the, you know, that reflection just will not show up as I think it should. It's a bit of a trade-off, because you've got to squint down when you're looking at these colors. You see a color of dark to the light on one side and it looks quite pale, so you start putting your dark lines in for the waves, but then you've got to have sorry, my Siri has started to work. What is it with these computers? But you need the extra light in here and darks to make it all work that way. No, I can't try again, Siri. Go to sleep. Right. I will be quiet for a minute because it's not listening to me. Just gently softening some of those marks out. And I do want to get them a little bit bluer as they go away, actually. Just a little bit darker down on this side. Okay, I can refine anything later on if I want to. This is really quite light, this side. It's what's sort of throwing my point of view on it. Put a little bit of lemon in just to change it a little bit. See where that goes. The more I look at it, it's not there at all. It's just playing around with a bit of this for the minute, just to try and bring that value roughly under control where I want it. And take that all the way through here. Okay. Just blend that back in a little bit without going up to the edge. Just want to make it very soft and subtle transition if I can. Same through there. Alright, I'm going to leave it at that and hope for the best. Yeah, what is it? Oh, I had you. Yeah, I don't know what Siri's about. I can talk and all of a sudden it goes and asks me what I want to know. So I don't know. Yeah, don't hope too much about campsites yet. I'm not too sure. Good, Teresa. Thanks very much for that. 73 minutes in, we've got 18 viewers. That's cracking. It would be nice to punch up over the 20 odd again. That would be awesome. So go around to your neighbours, wheel them in, get them going, get them signed in. Right, I'm just going to bring some of that red up. I want to bring a little bit of warmth. That needs to be a bit warmer than that. But actually, that's given me a great colour idea just for in here, just a bit warmer than I had it, but dry brush is a little bit too wet. Just let that tease away. Holding my breath. Okay, I still feel that's a little heavy. We'll live with it for the moment. It's only heavy if it's not right later on. Got a lovely contrast of light and darks going on here. Now I'm going to clean off this part of the palette because I need to get ready to start putting some real punchy lights in and start building that now, so we can bring this to a conclusion within the next 6 hours. Alright, get rid of that later. Tissue. More tissue. Even though you think that's fairly clean, it's not that clean. I need to come back in with some of my blues, which I've completely lost now, and put some ultramarine in and some cobalt. Need to come back in. Okay. Right, now then, where are we on this? I'm gonna start putting some real warms in one or two places. So I'm going to use a lot of my Cad Red and a lot of my Cad Yellow Deep. I'm mixing those two together, and it's very, very hot like that. But now I'm going to use some of my zinc white just to play around and make that another pile of color. You can see the value has changed again. I can come in here and I can come in the end here. I can make that even another color there. This time I could add a little bit of lemon into that and just take that to a peachier light color. So I've got several little colors to play with as I move forward, and I just want to suggest with one or two taps around some of these clouds some of the warm colors that are emanating out from them, but they're not going to be my total lights. They're just going to be subtle little changes, and then we're going to really pump it out, I hope, if there's enough energy, as it were, in the painting. Do need to just take out where my sun is going to be. I'm just going to literally scrunch up some paper tissue and just make a little claim for it just about there. Okay, and that's going to stay as it is. I'm going to move that little bit of cloud in a moment. I'm not too worried about that. Just going to look at one or two warm colors in here and in and around under this, coming down into here quite a bit. And through here. And all of the colours that you've got all out through the range. Down here they are lighter, but they're much less in terms of loudness, as it were, than where you're going to be putting some up in here. So these sort of values that I'm punching in over these clouds are lighter than you expect, but not as light as they can or will be. Otherwise it all looks very much the same. It's just that you need shifts between them. Little taps of colour, little blends, little subtleties. Trying to soften off and break off some of these as they sort of start breaking into the cloud. I just suddenly realised, Luke, is your nan here tonight? I haven't seen her. Sue, are you with us? And just going to bring some of this colour up. Now I've moved the sun a little bit. I'm going to bring it up into here, tease it around this other shape. And right. Taking that out through there. I'm just mixing up, there's a lot of cool colours in here, and I'm mixing that up with some of these lovely pinks, so you get a yin-yang, warms and cools working. It really can be good visually for the brain. Not quite sure how to process the information, so it's sort of lively, it's light, and then it's dark, and it's not quite sure. I'll put in a little bit of yellow, stronger yellows around where the corona of the sun will start pumping out. And just one or two little chinks of lovely yellow light in there. And just the little tap is all you need. You don't need to make great big statements, because the brain is picking up all these colours. This is what I was trying to say to you earlier about background colours, you know, colours that you're working on as a base. And I've said to you that I've worked in bright red as a base, and you think, how the hell can you paint a picture on this bright red? Because some of it pops through, and the brain picks up all these little colours. You don't actually know you're doing it, but it's done. And it's the same with this. You put all these lovely subtle little colours in, and the brain really is moving around the picture in the most delightful way, picking up all these things, and you don't actually know you're doing it, but it makes you feel that you like what you're seeing. It's a warm response to the picture, and so you carry on looking at it, we hope. Now, this is, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing for people to know, but I will say it anyway, so I hope nobody is offended by what I'm going to say now. But over the course of the few weeks that I've been doing these demonstrations, both here and through, onto other things such as the Instagram and my Patreon, it's generating quite a bit of work, and because of that I've decided that not just my older pieces that are sort of not all of those are old, but not all of my pieces are going to go out on the offer that are older. I'm actually going to start putting some of these newer pieces out on some of these offers, and like the watercolors, they're all going to be £200, and these oils are all going to be £200. So if any of you see something that I've painted in these, either these demonstrations or indeed through some other source, and you feel that you'd like to own it, and I really hope you don't mind me saying this, but they will be up for grabs, either as a direct message to me, either as an email or direct message through Instagram, which is quite easy, I'm learning, or literally wait until it does come on offer and grab it. But as I'm saying, that these offers there, I've got boxes of watercolors building up on me, and boxes of paintings drying over the back here. I don't know if you can see those. So I'm just trying to sort of make a situation where I can start moving one or two items, and letting one or two people that do enjoy the work sort of grab hold of one at a good price. That's all I'm saying. Alright, enough said on the sales bit. Let's get back to the painting. But before that, let's have a glug. I need a glug. Squeaky glug. Alright, I'm working on with this. I'm going to clean this brush out, and I'm going to dump the big one for the moment, and I'm going to come back to this very sad looking, look how sad that looks. It's really worn out pretty much. But I want to come in with some lights now, else we're going to run out of time. No, that particular picture, the dolphins, is not in that bracket. That's a different ball game, Luke. That's a little. It's still reduced for this lockdown period, and I've got to stress, all the prices that I'm selling work at the moment are reduced, and it is only temporary while we're in lockdown. The moment we're out of lockdown and things get back to normal, then my prices will go back to their normal prices. But the dolphin would never have been in that bracket. That's a stunning piece of work. Well, they're all good pieces of work, but you know what I'm saying, the dolphin is just that next step up. Just going to put in a yellow and suggest my sun from the get-go here. Just going to put it in and let it sit there and judge other colours by it. See what I need to do to make it even stronger and more pronounced than it is. But it also tells me that I can tap in all these other little colours around here to start suggesting that the corona is casting its light and colour far and wide, as it were. Lots of strong yellows. I'm going to put in a very strong sense of the cadmium yellow deep, which I love this colour. Makes an excellent colour for winter clouds. You've got to know that, it really does. I'm going to come in with some pure yellow around that corona, really punch that sun out a little bit. Okay, and not going to do too much more at the moment on that. I just want to sort of get these yellows and blues working together so we get some sort of yin yang going on with the colour and the subtleties of the light and the blasts of sun and all these wonderful things that are happening in here. A little bit of extra light punching its way down and through there, and just wanted to skip around the top rim of these clouds here, and they're going to start going away. Okay, we've been in 90 minutes. Oh my lord, this is going to be struggling tonight, guys. Right, I need to get up in here, don't I, and get some pale yellows going up into this part here. I'm just going to literally punch that in. Now I know I'm going to sacrifice a lot of good white because it's going to turn so blue very quickly, but that's not a big bad thing. Just going to punch that in, lay it in very, very quickly. Very strong statements. Just doing some subtle blending. Right, now I can start refining these big daubs that I've just put in. I hope not try and get too much going on into the blue because you'll just muddy the pile very, very quickly. Just making the shapes very, very subtle. As it goes with the blue, it will look blue, of course it will, but it will also still look quite white. It's a funny thing. But it does tend to work that way. Now I know there's a streak of blue in there that I've lost it. I can bring some back a little bit. I could even put some of that colour back in. I don't think we need to worry too much. So I'm just going to go over it and make it all part of. Just softening some of these edges into the blue. Just where the trails of white just taper off and start blending into the sky and dissipating. That will come through here, another bit through there, just a little catch on that edge there. It just sort of goes to nothing, so there's a little discoloration but not a lot to mention. Just playing around with the edges, softening them as I go. Now I want to bring in, I want to make something more here, just not quite sure where I want to push that right now. Oh, Hannah, hi. Yeah, well that will be, the next watercolour will be on Monday. No, it won't be on Monday. It will be Friday. Sorry, we are in Monday. So Friday will be the next watercolour, And don't ask me what I'm doing, because I have no idea yet what's going to happen, what I'm going to be doing. But yeah, that's the next watercolour, so I hope you'll join us for that. And just teasing some of these shapes around now, just playing around with them. Subtle little violets going into it as well. I don't want to do it all over because it will lose the intensity of the light colour. You can't find the dolphin picture. It's actually it was done as an oil painting last Monday before Ben. So it's on here, but it's also on my Instagram feed, probably halfway along the feed. If you go back on my Instagram feed and look at the paintings, you'll see so far back, and I think I've put up about 80 now. But oh, you got it. Okay, that's fine. I'll shut up then. But it is there. All right, I'm just gonna carry on, and I want to put a little bit of warmth into this over the top here. I just feel that it needs a bit of warmth in that light, just a little bit too cold, so I'm going to put in a little bit more warmth into there. And a little bit, I'm going to actually change that look there. I'm going to come in here like that and suggest that there's that blue colour that I lost somewhere about there. It will do the job. And just going to bring some warmth into here. It just got a little bit too cold up there. So I'm going to bring some peachy colours into some of these colours in here. A bit more yellow maybe into one or two of them. Soften some of this in here as well very quickly, because I'm aware of the times getting on, and yeah, you've got lives to lead as well. Right. Just changing down some of those lights in there for a minute. Taking them back a little bit. Put that light that's picking up in there. A strong light source. Okay. Good. Well done. Alright, now then, we are sort of closing in. I do need to get the dark in for this, so let me just establish that very, very quickly. Let's put our very dark in. I'm going to use my umber, and I'm going to go in for some ultramarine blue. Very good combination for a dark. You can push them one way or the other. Well, I appreciate that very much, Judy. It's very kind of you to say. I appreciate that. Just going to get this dark value into the foreground, and that adds weight to the whole of this image. It's sort of almost like the bedrock that this image is sitting on. And we're just going to put that in and let that run all the way through there and meet the sea, but we're not finished with the sea by any stretch. Okay, see these marks here? I don't know if you can see them on the camera. That's where I keep using my nail as a little platform. And the only reason I'm doing that tonight is because I've got all my cars set up for plein air. All my kits been put back together again, ready to work. And of course my mile sticks are with my kit. So I'm sort of making a mess of my sea while we speak. So I'm just going to try and just gently take some of those out. And there, oh, I see there's a couple as well. Not a problem. It's just catch them, get them sorted out. All right. Okay. Now I'm gonna clean brush and just have a general look at it for a second or two, because this is a lot bluer, more violet than the sky, but the sky also is a very, very different animal because it's on film. So I'm making that, you know, I'm just checking it out. Yes, I do. There's several of my patrons watching right now, Hannah, so they'll tell you what you can expect from my patron. And there's also a further live stream every Sunday evening for my patrons on the Facebook patron group which I run. It's a very specific group for patrons, and so yeah, you can get involved with that if it takes your fancy. Yeah, I appreciate that, and yeah, it is. You know, I don't see the point in trying to recreate the photograph. I'm trying to make something that is just going to glow and enhance and be just something that you can look at and enjoy time and time again. And I just don't see any other reason to do the job otherwise. You know, we can all, if you're going to, you know, the old adage, if you're going to make it look like a photograph, then save your money. Just take a photograph. Just putting one or two little taps of light in one or two places just to break up some of these edges. There's some lovely warm tints and taps of colour. Being aware to keep replenishing my brush with colour, because it's going to be picking up the dark material, and it's not necessarily what you want to happen. So be aware of that as you move forward with this. I just want to come in and literally break up some of the edges of this cloud and make them just more fine to look at. Keep checking thing. Hannah, pause patron challenge. Excellent. Come join us. You're not ready. Yes. Judy, you need to get somebody in to sort your tech out. My problem is I just keep forgetting to do bits on it, but there you go, that's something else. It's still bugging me up here. I want to put in more warm of yellow up in here. Keep seeing it and I keep wanting to touch a bit more in. I'm going to definitely do that. I'm going to tap in some strengths up in here just to make it glow even more. It was Turner, I keep saying this, I know, but it was Turner who taught us that adding a little tint of yellow to our white would enhance the brain's feeling that it's whiter than white. It makes it very, very compelling white, even though it's not actually white anymore. Okay, enough on that for the moment. If I have to do anything more to this in the morning in the cold light of day, I can, but I think right now we're good. I'm going to go to my rigger of sorts. That one's a bit damaged. Trouble with not having access to all your brushes as normal is that they start getting worn out, and I've been so, because I sell Rosemary's brushes, I've been so spoiled over the years that I just get a dumb brush, I throw it over my shoulder as it were, and I get another one out. Actually what I do with a lot of old brushes, I take them to the primary schools and let the kids have them. They're pretty much wrecked and they're not going to do them any harm at all by wrecking them further. But anyway, that's something else. I'm coming in with a strong orange just to build this corona up in one or two places here, just to make it a little punchier, a little stronger. Maybe a little bit of the wrong yellow would be a better yellow, is the cadmium yellow deep, because it's partly orange itself, so they're sort of almost bedfellows. You got a yellow red and red yellow, very strong red yellow. I'm just going to tap that in around there. I don't want them obvious taps, I just want to make a subtle marks and a little bit around here. And then come away from that and make it a little less red, a little more of the yellow. Up in here too. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually use a little touch of lemon yellow and some titanium white. Rather corrupted by not washing my brush out thoroughly enough. Start that mix again, and a little bit of the white, and we've got this very pale lemon, and that will now come into my sun. A little bit of red into it, a little more. And go back into that lemon. But that's not the final stroke, that's just setting it up for that final tap. We've still got a very, very bright sun happening, and now I want to come in with some of these richer colours into our sea moving down. So get it underneath, make sure you're in the right spot, and just put a few of the darker red colours in. But look at where some of these natural marks are being made, where you can suggest the waves that are blocking out the red reflection, because it's not a pure. You can see different lights and darks moving down across it, which are suggesting that you know, it's picking up the waves are sort of breaking into those lovely reflections. But I'm keeping them quite dark on the outside, very much the way we painted there, and just suggesting that there are a few richer lights breaking away from the central bolt of light as it comes down through the center of this picture. Okay, and I'm just tapping away and just leaving little areas of red, even using the red as some of like the wave marks coming through. And then down in here, of course, we've got much bigger statement of light coming on, so we'll just suggest the eddy into the sand going away, just a little glint of warmth in there, and a little bit in the wet sand too. We'll emphasize that in a little while, but we'll just come back and we're just going to finish this part of it off. Right, so just want little taps here and there, nothing too much. Now you see me tapping this way a little bit, because it's almost like sparkles, but deep dark sparkles. They mess up the surface of the water. Nothing. I'm using the brush in two different ways. I often do this to just break up the pattern. To me, it's a little bit more of an impression of that glow coming through the water. It's not like that way or that way. Yeah, the trouble is, John, that schools are on a budget, mate, aren't they? And they just can't afford top flight brushes. So it's what it is. But you know, I don't chuck brushes away if I can help it. I try and give them a second lease of life by giving them to the local primary school. But obviously things like that are out now. You can't do that right now. one. They're not there for a kickoff. Right, I'm just going to put a little bit of waft of lovely yellow through the base there. And you can start to see the way that this is starting to build now. Yeah, I can imagine that. Right. Sorry about that. I thought I was going to use the glass, but I didn't. I used that thing. I just want to put in a little bit of light. I'm just seeing around that sun. It's got a little bit too heavy. I just want to bring that out, tease it away a little bit. Tapping that into the edge. Now I'm doing this very, very gently. I don't want the hard edge. I want a soft edge. Gently teasing the shape, but keeping it round. Keeping it round, keeping it mindful that it's got to be a round shape, but it blends into that background a lot more now. Okay, let's come in with our next lovely bit of lovely light. Bit of lemon into the whole thing. And let's just start bringing in that extra bit of glow. But it's not going to, it's going to be in the same area, but it's not going to be as much. It's still going to look brighter, but it's not going to be as bright as it can be further in, because we've got to save those little bits. Like that. Now we've got to really punch it away. We've got a subtlety of light up in the back here, which is fine. We've got to really do now what we did with our sun. We want to put that big statement in here, this big light statement. Maybe a little bit of the cad yellow deep, I think, more than the lemon this time. I think I've moved my sun a little bit too far one side. Keep looking at it. And it wants to come this way just a little bit. I can bring it to about there. So that means I'm just going to move over one or two more of these ripples this side just to give it a balance. Right, so get away with that. And 1 or 2 extra lights in there. So I'll bring that in through there. You know, I can see it, whether it's right or wrong. I don't think I was that far off in the first place. Looking at that, I really think that that wasn't far off. I'm going to make a bit of a statement here, just to hedge my bets. I think that works. Now what makes it work even better is if I get in this little bit of foreshore blue colour, which is missing, a little bit too much there, quite dark. And just bring that in through here and let that really look against that lovely light running right into it there. Let that run away. Okay. Just want to see if I can just make that even more pronounced. into there. Put that down out the way for a second and come back in with some oranges around there, and very much the same way as we did the sun, just let that sort of bleed out a little bit and away from the source, making it warm and hot. Just looking at some of these blues again, just checking that where I need to sort of really make them strong so that they work with that reflection. And there's a dark passage runs right the way through like so. Now let's just get some of these wavy bits in. Let's just quickly knock some of these dark areas of the rolling wave in, and again I'm using the rigger. What I'm doing is I drag it and I drop it down, drag it a bit and drop it down. And it's a little bit too violet, but not a worry, we are not too concerned over that. But it just wants to look like that there are little soft breakers in the morning just coming into the shore, and they're just kissing the sand as they come in. Just a little break in the water like that, so you can suggest that there's a little bit of washing back, as it were, and just tidy one or two up, and you can bring some out through here. They get darker a little bit as they come away from the source of that light, but then they are dark in here, but they're actually a warmer dark. They're not the cool dark always that you're seeing. There we go. Very dark passage out there. It comes through it. And then goes off outside, other way. Often on this shore, when it's high tide, we have one lone seal often visits and feeds along here. Just to this side there are the rocks that were deposited on the sea defences. So I've got a helicopter going over at the minute. And yes, so when the tide's in, he feeds on the fish and stuff that's in that area. And then often I watch several pairs of great crested grebes. They fly in from the lakes, I guess the lakes at Dungeness, and they feed and fish off of here on the sand for eel and different bits and pieces, sand eel and stuff, I suppose. I don't know for sure. But yeah, interesting. Just I love it because I walk this bit every day, pretty much every day of the year. I just love it, come whatever the weather. Alright, so that's pretty much it in terms of the sea. I don't want to be doing too much. There it is. The top edge is visible. When I finish, can I lift the top edge of the painting so we can remove some of the bright? Oh, I see. Like that. Alright. Okay, so that's that part there. I'm going to come in and I'm going to just try and enhance this shape in here a little bit brighter. just 1 or 2 taps further back. And now I'm going to put in what I said I was going to put in. This, I've got lemony yellow in there. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going in the center. I'm going to pop in a very solid lump of pure white there. Take off the excess and just gently spread it like a bit of butter in the center of your toast. And that just gives that final pop to there. And now I'm going to look at, do I need to put in some really strong lights in and around the sun or the clouds of that area. They're very orangey, so I'm pretty much sure that we've got them where we can get them. It says, and it just actually just builds it up a little brighter. It's quite nice to be able to do that. A little light over the top of those would be good too. Just increasing 1 or 2 bits of light near and under the clouds. I'm sort of, it's going in pretty white, but it's not really. It looks it, but it's actually quite peachy in colour. Just trying to give that little area that is sort of subtle little edges to some of these clouds. Something really dastardly on my hand, you know. Keep depositing it on the painting. Right, now do I need to bring any other values up in here? Maybe just looking at tapping a little bit of light into 1 or 2 areas here. We're almost there. Amazing how actually fast it comes together right in the last ditch of everything. It doesn't take a lot just to sort of all come together and finish off. Put a little bit of light through there. Separate that bit of cloud up a little bit. Tap a little bit more into that. And just add 1 or 2 areas here. Now, there's a little bit of blue light over here. I could make that quite a warm light, but I'm not going to do that. I will change the angle in a minute, Ben. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this blue colour, this lovely sort of, not so much blue, but there you go, a bit more blue, and just kill it off with some dirt. I wanted to make it not as purple, but just something around that sort of slaty blue mark. Now I often use a lead-in line on the sea here. You get lots of areas where you get the bars of the water, and the water glistens on the light. But I'm going to put this one like this one is over here, and it's out of the sun, and I'm just going to suggest it's lovely in the shadow light through here. I don't know if there's the right thing. If I don't like it, there's nothing stopping me changing it, and beefing it up later on. This gives a nice little play of light into the sea. Maybe a little hint of red there, maybe a little warmth as it comes nearer to the source of light, which is the sun, but not the great big light that will be on it if it was somewhere around here. And if I don't like that, there's nothing stopping me changing that like right now, because I don't like it. I'm just going to take some of this out. I didn't like what was happening with that. I want a very strong dark in there to take it out. Okay. I'm not going to have it come this way so much. I'm going to take it out a different way, or I might even lose it altogether. I'm not too sure yet. What I do want to do though, I want to use some of this red orange colour, and I want to warm up the sand at this point here, where the sea has just gone out, or whatever coming in, going out. It's going to affect what you see in terms of warmth here. I also do it on a silhouetted field. If I've got a field of grass or something in front and I've got a strong sunlight, if you look at any of my cloud paint, I'm going to take that right away out of it. And yeah, you'll see that I use that effect. It's just taking the cool and then the warmth as it comes up to the center of the picture. Makes it quite lovely in that way. I didn't quite think that color worked in that blue, and try it again and just let that come off, and I'm going to actually let it lead out in a little puddle out through there, like something like that, and see if that works. No, it doesn't work. I don't know. You tell me if it works. I'm not too sure. But in the short term, where are we time wise? We've just gone the 2 hours. I'm just going to go in and put my signature over here. Okay, that's done. It's signed. How many paintings I forget to sign? I can't remember. Too many. I'm just going to play around with this. I might, next time you see this picture, you may not have this in it. But at the moment, I'm sort of saying, do I want it in there? I like it in the photograph. I'm not sure if I actually like it in my picture. It's got quite a warm glow to one side of it. It's quite rich here. If it stays, that is. Judy, you're right. It doesn't do a lot for me. So, you know what? There we go. Problem sorted. A bit of cooler each side of that warmth as it comes into it. And with that said, I keep looking at it all. I think we're pretty much done as much as we can do. I'll have a quick glug and have a look at it and tip it up the other way. There you go. I'll leave it there like that for a minute while we just conclude and finish off with things. And hopefully you can get to see it. In a few days it will be up on the sites. Probably be up on my sales site. I don't know. I've got a few more ahead of it yet. But yeah, I've enjoyed painting this. I really have. been a bit of fun. It's a subject that I absolutely adore anyway, so it doesn't take much for me to get the brushes out and paint a sunrise or sunset, something of that nature. But yeah, it's all good. Well. What can I say? I do hope that some of you will look at the Instagram if owning a piece of art at a good price is of interest to you. I also hope that some of you will maybe consider joining the Patreon if you are artists and would like some help from me in moving forward with your artistic endeavor. I will work very hard for you and to do that. As for that, every week there are 2 streams. The next one will be Friday and it will be a watercolor. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I will think on that over the next couple of days and let everybody know. JT, thank you very much. John, thank you very much as well. Judith, thank you very much. You don't know how to use Instagram, you need to talk to Wendy. She will tell you how to use it. I will get as messed up as you are. But Ben, if you want to talk tomorrow sometime over my little issue, you might have an idea or two for me. I don't know, you may not. But you are very IT savvy, and that would help possibly very, very much. Yeah, what else? Thank you, Wendy. It's been a lot of fun, this painting, I've got to say. If I hold it up a little bit more, you get a less of a glare. But a funny acute angle, but a less of a glare anyway. Derek, thank you so much. Appreciate that too. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. As I say, it always is. And I love painting, and I love painting for you guys, and I get a kick out of that too. So I just enjoy it. But yeah, if you got something from it, paint it yourself, have a go. Don't be shy about making contact with me and showing me your efforts based on this. And as my secretary Wendy has given me a whole list of reference that I need to get up on our Patreon site, so that all you guys can look at the references that I've been using for some of these pictures, and so that you can have a go at them yourselves. Some of them will be for the patrons only, others will be free to use for learning purposes, even if you're not a patron. So that's all good, and I do hope that you also look at my Friday night, my Friday tutorials. I put a new painting tutorial up on my painting channel in addition to everything else every Friday. Normally every Friday morning by midday there is a new title up there for you to enjoy. Sometimes it's an oil, sometimes it's a watercolor, but nonetheless there is a new one each week, so remember that. And as I say, if you're not a subscriber to Paul App's Fine Art channel, my channel, Paul App's Artist, then please subscribe to it. It really doesn't cost you anything to do that. It's a courtesy for me that I know that people are interested. It helps me grow my channel, and by the same token, if you click on the bell icon, it tells you each and every time I upload something, and it also reminds you of the live streams, which are twice a week. Thanks, Ben, appreciate that. Derek, I thank you for that. So I don't know how many are left. I expect we've lost 1 or 2, I'm sure, but anyway, I am rambling now, so I'm gonna say cheerio to everybody. I look forward to painting with you all again on Friday at 7 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, BST, whatever you want to call it. And in the meantime, have a great week. Enjoy this glorious sunshine if you're down south, and even if you're up north, I think you got some as well. And yeah, okay, Derek, take care, mate. Bye for now. See you soon, I'm sure. And I'm getting a bit dry now. So, anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. I've had a lot of fun. John, bless you too. Thank you very much. Judith, take care. I see you all again on Friday, I hope. And yeah. Jeff, take care, mate. And Ben, yeah, tomorrow will be good. Thanks ever so much, Ben. I'm not sure what time it is because I do a couple of things first thing in the morning, but yeah, we'll have a chat if that's okay. Yeah, see you all on Friday. Thanks, Wendy. And James, are you still there or are you on CAD? You've buried your head in the other computer. Now you're still there. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. I don't know who's left, but if I haven't talked to you, I haven't said goodbye or hello, hi, good evening, thanks for watching, and goodbye, and hope you'll join us again. And on that note, I'm going to put this down and take care, everyone. Bye. Is that the Ashford one?